This episode of Techzilla is sponsored by GoDaddy.com, Netflix, and eMusic. Coming up on this episode, how to buy a used PC without getting ripped off, skinning your laptop, audio podcasting tools 101, plus your viewer questions. So heat up that Hungry Man dinner, sweeten up that iced tea, and fold out the TV tray table, because Techzilla starts now. Welcome to Techzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We've got a great show lined up for you today, but first things first, it's Naked Day on Techzilla.
Naked Day? What?
Well, we're actually taping. The taping is being exposed live. It's like people are seeing behind the curtain. More so than the bloopers. Whoa. As of 2:30 Pacific, we're streaming the taping of Techzilla, so please don't spoil it for everybody who hasn't seen it yet by blabbing on the forums about the plot twists, which character gets killed off, and who the 5th Cylon and the 6th and the 7th Cylon really are.
That's the wrong show.
I'm so confused.
Right.
I miss Starbucks.
Yeah, seriously though, folks, we hope you're enjoying the live stream featuring Techzilla's taping. Remember, we'll do a lot of retakes, and there might be some pauses in the action, but don't worry, it's just Techzilla being produced, and we tend to screw up a lot, so bear with us. Yeah. And if you want to see how you can get in on the action, check out revision3.com/watch. On a more technical topics, AT&T has just announced the pricing for the iPhone 3G.
Isn't that the pricing we already knew from the leaked AT&T memo a while back?
Right. According to PC Magazine, consumers have a choice of 4 data plans which bundle voice and unlimited data use, subject to AT&T's terms of service. AT&T Nation Unlimited includes unlimited anytime minutes for $129.99 a month. That's a little bit up there.
That's chunky.
Yeah. AT&T Nation 1350 includes 1,350 anytime minutes. That's a good number of minutes. And unlimited night and weekend minutes for $109.99 a month. Why is the price? Why can't they just make it $104? Why do they do that?
Because they don't want it to be $110 a month. They want it to be just under, because it looks like it's less.
Right,
it's like
whatever.
Gasoline pricing,
yeah,
9/10 of a cent.
I get it.
Yeah.
Then we've got AT&T Nation 900, which includes 900 anytime minutes and unlimited night and weekend minutes for $89.99 a month.
That's pretty much what I have.
Yeah. AT&T Nation 450 includes 450 anytime minutes and 5,000 night and weekend minutes for $69.99 a month. Yeah. Looks like it's time for me to update my cell contract.
I'm kind of fascinated by the fact that they've eliminated the whole, like, it's $10 more a month for 3G data by just being like, here's our combined phone price data plan. It's kind of clever. It's nice marketing.
I heard something about you camping out. Is that really going to happen?
We're talking about it, actually. Michael, who's the intern that works with us on System and Techzilla. What's that?
Uncle.
What?
What? Don't worry about
it. I'm not even going near that joke anymore. The love is a battlefield, though, and Michael knows a lot about that. And hopefully he'll tell us about it someday on a Techzilla Daily, perhaps. But we were talking about not Michael Benatar, but the 3G. Basically, we're
camping out.
Prager's actually done it before. We're thinking about getting together a crew to descend upon the AT&T store in San Francisco. So if you perhaps have inside data on whether or not, you know, how they're going to be doing it, if they're going to be changing how they sell the 3Gs at launch, let us know, because we're very curious. If there's a cap, can you only buy one per person?
I'm pretty
two per
sure you
person?
can only buy 1 per person, and you can't buy it as a gift, and you have to activate it in store.
Yeah.
You can't take it home and activate it
separately. What if I want
to
activate like one for me and one for my wife?
I don't know.
So Apple doesn't want me to give presents to my wife? That sucks,
No, they don't
Apple.
want you
Steve,
to give presents.
We got to talk, man.
They hate presents, okay? Just forget about it. I'm just kidding.
Are you going to get one?
Yeah, I'm probably going to get one.
You going to get one like day of, or are you going to wait?
I'll maybe wait like 6 hours after. I don't really feel like waiting in line. I did it last year. Wasn't that fun?
You're over it.
I'm over it. I'll just waltz in after everyone's like all mobbed after the iPhones.
Frozen from sitting on concrete for 18 hours.
Yeah, frozen in the middle of July in San Francisco. Yeah.
It gets cold in San Francisco.
It does get cold. All right, let's do some email questions.
Because you're probably fed up with iPhone banter.
I'm getting a little sick of it.
Our first email comes from Steve. Steve seems to have a bone to pick with us. He complains, I went to Fry's, Best Buy, and Radio Shack, and nobody had the Blue Ant visor. Actually, it was the Super 2 3 that we showed. Not because it was sold out, but because they do not carry it. That may have been a good thing to mention on the show. Something like, don't try to buy this one, though, because nobody sells the damn thing. Steve, okay. First of all, Sears sells Blue Ant products Actually, in their stores and online. A ton of folks sell Blue Amp products online, Steve. And I gotta say, I always comparison shop online before buying, especially since the whole Best Buy and quite a few other stores have an online price and an in-store price, and guess which one is higher. Now, I'm hoping, I should have double checked to see, recently if Best Buy kind of stopped doing differentiating prices. But, you don't want to look at the prices of 6 things and drive to Best Buy and go back and forth. But what I'm saying here, though, is you should always go to Google Shopping, right? Go to some of the other price comparison sites. You can often buy online and then pick up in a local store if you don't want to wait for shipping, and you know what, if you want to get the best possible, it's sometimes the only way to get the best price. That said, printing out the web page, especially for like Best Buy or somebody, and going to customer service can often get you the price you want if you're really dead set against shopping over the internets.
I heard a lot of people were having trouble getting Bluetooth headsets this week because of the ban.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no one could find one.
You know what was really fun? I was driving this morning and realized 2 things, like I had 4 Bluetooth, like hands-free, like I left my headset and the 3 devices we had sitting in my cubicle as I was driving, and I was sitting there and I was lying. I was like, I can't call Roger, and so I pulled over and called Roger, and then I was laughing because like every other car I saw for 35 miles of driving had somebody with the headset clamped to their ear, like their phone.
Really?
Still? Their ear. Yeah.
Well,
including, I might add, 2 guys with firefighter tags in at least 1 police car.
Oh, man.
Which I didn't have a camera because I wanted a picture of the police car so bad.
What are you going to do?
It's time now to thank one of our sponsors, eMusic.com. Now, check it out. Tekzilla has partnered with eMusic to create a hand-picked playlist of some of my favorite tunes available on eMusic. Visit eMusic.com/Tekzilla, play the songs right there on the webpage, and let me know what you think. I'll be creating a new eMusic playlist once a month so you'll always know what I've been listening to. Now, you want to download those songs? eMusic is offering you 50 free songs if you visit eMusic.com/Tekzilla, and it's important you go there and sign up for a free trial. They deliver songs in MP3. It's universally compatible. It'll play on pretty much anything, iPod, Zune, anything that can play music, it can probably play in MP3. No restrictions, no DRM hassles. You own it forever. Check it out, eMusic.com. Help support Tekzilla by supporting our sponsors.
Welcome to this week's Freebie Download Pick, a free program that we find useful, funny, or incredibly interesting. Today's selection, Avg Antivirus Free 8. In this day and age, running a PC without any form of antivirus is just inviting trouble, especially if you're a habitual downloader. Enter Avg Antivirus Free 8.0. This powerful yet lightweight antivirus client featuring an anti-Trojan, antivirus, and anti-spyware, courtesy of Avg's new link scanner web protection technology. Plus, Avg Antivirus Free can automatically scan your email client's attachments before you open them, preventing dangerous payloads from executing. Avg also includes a scheduler, allowing you to set up system scans and update checks on a regular basis. Of course, an antivirus program is only worthwhile if it actually works. Thankfully, it does. PC Mag's Neil Rubenkings gives a very favorable review, handing it a score of 4 out of a possible 5. Both its virus scan and malware blocking abilities are highly rated. In the latest version, Antivirus Free 8, Avg includes a utility called Link Scanner that actively scans web pages for threats, including unauthorized downloading. And while the program didn't feature rootkit scanning, Neil's testing revealed it can uncover and remove some rootkits. If you want a full rootkit protection, you'll have to pony up for the full price version. While Antivirus Free 8 does have its drawbacks, namely no official support, the user community is quite helpful, and Avg does supply a steady stream of virus definition updates to keep it in tip-top shape. So if you're in the market for an effective antivirus program but don't want to spend a lot, give Avg's Antivirus Free 8 a go.
You ready for another round of viewer emails?
I do believe I am. This next question is from Brian up in Ontario, Canada. He wants to know, help me. I'm going to college in September for radio broadcasting. Problem is, I know nothing about audio at all. All my knowledge is in video and TV more than anything. So I need some help to find out what gear I should get to make a podcast like, let's say, This Week in Tech. Now, I know that Leo spent like $1 billion on the setup for Twit Live. What I want to do is make what he's got on a smaller scale. Right now I have a MacBook Pro and an oldish PC, 2 years old, running XP, that I would be willing to put some money into. I have no mics or speakers. What should I buy? P.S. My budget is about $1,100. Brian.
Okay.
Not too bad. First of all, it's rad that you're going into audio broadcasting, but I'm also completely biased, considering that's what I did for my major.
You actually did study audio broadcasting?
Yeah, that was my audio degree.
In the age of the internets.
Well, it was like, not like last year or anything, but whatever. Well, hey, I don't get to brag about it very often, so it's a very noble major. Anyhow,
There's a couple reasons we did want to talk about this question.
Yes.
One is because we constantly get, I want to do audio recording, what should I do? So we want to lay out the definitive answer. Two, I want to point out the stuff that Leo set up to do Twit Live is a bunch of expensive live switching gear for video and a bunch of really nice, really expensive cameras, none of which you actually need to do a podcast.
Yeah, he's also got a direct ISDN line to his house.
That's actually how he does it, and that's pretty normal for,
so that's like for radio
professionals.
Stuff, right.
But that's because he's going to be doing an ISDN line into this studio in LA, and it's like he's in the studio. The audio quality is that good. You're not going to be sending signals to a studio.
But to any account, you can still do a very professional sounding podcast by using Skype to have people come in. Yeah, all the people on Twitter are at mercy of the Skype connection. Pretty much. If that thing goes down, no amount of money is going to save it. The best advice I can give you is to invest in a good microphone. However, while there are many good, extremely expensive mics out there, a simple Shure SM58 will suffice and run you from $100 to $200. You can probably find a used one for cheaper than that. But they live forever. They're so durable. You can pretty much just like conk someone on the head with it, get a huge dent in it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, if you've ever seen a live show in a small club, you've seen Shure SM58s. There's albums
that are
recorded
standard,
with them. Yeah.
You might want to get a little spit guard though, a little pop protector.
The little fuzzy thing?
Yeah, or you can put a sock on it, or you can get the screen that goes in front of the microphone. That'll keep you from getting the poppy sound. My personal favorite digital audio interface is the M Audio Fast Track. I like that one. It'll run you around $130, and this will take the analog signal from the mic and bring it into your computer without losing too much quality, which is really important, if any, exactly.
If you can hear the difference between what you're saying and it probably has more to do with your microphone and its position in the room, and
the room sound, how close it is to your computer, what it's picking up in terms of fan noise. You have to kind of take all of that into account if you want a really clean sound. But finally, once you've got your audio, just use a free audio editor like Audacity. I mean, it's free, it's open source.
It's awesome.
You can download the layman coder if you want to export to MP3, which is pretty simple. I've had some trouble with it on Mac, though. The layman coder on a Mac doesn't always work quite right, or it's hard to find the library that it lives in.
But I mean, you could basically create an uncompressed, some sort of PCM format WAV type file.
Yeah, you could even do a WAV and bring it into iTunes and then export it as a
Do people still make AIF files?
They do. They do. But for speakers, if you're going to be in a dorm room, I mean, if you're just going to college for the first time, just get a really good pair of headphones. And Lord knows, we've done our fair share of headphone reviews on this show. So just go back, watch some old episodes, find a good pair of headphones that you can plug into either the Fast Track or your computer itself. And then if you have guests on your show, like I said, just get them in on Skype, and you're good to go, pretty much.
Absolutely.
So, it's not going to be like a $5,000 setup. And you can even get Audio Hijack Pro, which is a great little program that will take the sound from any device or any program running on your computer like Skype or Audacity and reroute it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's
only $32 too.
It's amazing how good you can sound with like no money. Hanging up a blanket, if you have like an empty wall, if you're in a dorm room with the classic, like I have a giant, hard wall behind me and you get the big echoey sounds, hanging up a blanket or a blanket or two can do more for your audio quality than spending $1,000 on a single microphone.
Your speaker placement also. I mean, if you've got speakers that are, if you're in a square room and you've got both of your speakers at one wall and you're working towards the back, or you're going to get the sound waves hitting the wall and then bouncing back and canceling themselves out. So you got to angle them in a certain way so the sound waves bounce off, and it sounds crazy and weird, but it actually makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Hey, I think we've kept you well under your $1,100 budget. You could always be really lazy and buy one of those $100 Behringer podcast studio
Those
kits.
Those are so funny.
They are. It's like a podcast in a box. Just supply your own content. Basically, buy an SM58, buy the M Audio adapter, download a copy of Audacity, and it's trust us.
Exactly. Yeah, I have no idea about the quality of that podcast in a box stuff.
But it's a great name.
It's a good idea, right?
I like that thought.
I like that thought too.
Podcast in a box.
I like that thought.
I think we should move on.
I think so too. I like that thought. Next up, we have Bill with a question about buying used PCs. He writes, I'm thinking of buying a computer on Craigslist. When I go to pick it up, I want to see if it's running before I finish buying. What would you look for in a used computer before you finished buying? Are there any tests that you would run on it? I was thinking of MemTest for 86. Can you think of any others?
Okay, so Bill's in Athens, Georgia. I'm suspecting that, you probably, first of all, think about yourself as like when you're buying stuff off of Craigslist, what's the scumbag factor? Which is if somebody says, I've got a great PC, just wire me $400 to Tuscaloosa, Indiana, or whatever it is. First of all, when you're buying something, buy it in cash in front of you off of Craigslist.
Yeah, well, let's assume that he's smart enough to not get scammed by some
Dude, I nearly got.
Right?
Did you just say what I think you just said? I nearly got taken for $800. A friend of mine got taken for $2,000 recently buying through eBay. And I got to say this. My biggest concern is, basically physically see it. Don't mail order used PCs from somebody off of Craigslist. Go to somebody's house and buy it. When you get there, the first thing to look for, make sure it's running, make sure it's attached to a monitor, and make sure it'll basically run. Because PCs, if they're running, they pretty much run forever until something dies, and there's pretty much no way to predict whether or not it's going to die. You could spend an hour and a half running Memtest 86 in somebody's garage, but the truth is, if it's running, you're good. If the memory has problems, just replace it, because the processor, the chipset, and please don't email me about like issues with specific processors that had lookup table issues or something. I wouldn't even bother running any tests. Just see if it's running. Do all the parts and peripherals work? CD, DVD drive. Does it come with a keyboard and a mouse? Does the monitor come with it? Are you going to need to buy a monitor? How old is it? Because it's amazing to realize what Dell and Gateway and HP and a whole bunch of other places sell brand new PCs for. Don't spend $500 for a used PC that's 2 years old when you can buy a brand new PC with a much faster processor and possibly more memory for the same amount of money.
Well, okay, so what if on the Craigslist ad it has a whole list of specs? What would he do just to make sure that everything the guy says in the ad is true? Should he just go to like the information about the PC, like my PC?
Well,
like what should he do?
So if you're in a PC and it's running like Windows, you're going to right click, go to Properties, and
then you can see all the hardware stuff.
Yeah, the hardware, the device manager. Belkin has a pretty good application, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes, where basically it runs through and lists everything inside the PC, all of the applications, all the hardware, and all the basic specs. Macs are generally going to cost you more because there are fewer of them, and people, on the flip side, people also tend to hold on to their Macs longer, so a lot of the used Macs out there are like G3s that you don't really need to bother spending money on. You just want to basically make sure it runs, make sure everything's working on it, and most of the stuff you can buy that might break is so cheap now. Unless you're a gamer, in which case you should probably almost always be buying a new PC.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, you can get components pretty cheap on like Newegg or something if you want to update something.
There's one thing you can't get cheap.
What?
Operating system install disks. And that's actually something people get a little funky about. Make sure you get an OS install disks and the activation code, preferably the one that's printed on the book, not one that the guy wrote down on a sheet of paper. And any other installed apps that you'd like, if the guy's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you with Photoshop, make sure you get the installation disks and the little authentication number for the serial number.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of places that are kind of nefarious about selling used equipment. Or let me phrase this, I've run into places that are a little nefarious because they basically install all of this incredibly expensive software on your machine that's basically all using stolen ID codes. And it works great as long as it's not connected into the internet, maybe, and then suddenly
none of your stuff is authorized and you're totally screwed. But people do that with iPods too.
Yes,
they'll be like, I'm going to sell you this 80 gigabyte iPod and it's going to have full of music and all these cool songs, and you're like, yeah, but none of it, I don't have your password for your iTunes account, so none of it's running.
Yeah, if they're like, I'm going to leave Photoshop installed in your machine, technically, if you're in a court of law, that's theft. You can get into the whole morality of it. That's on your dime, not me. But just remember something: if they don't give you the install disk, you can't reinstall anything if something goes wrong. That's something to be concerned about. Yeah,
and any of you out there have questions regarding video cards, CPUs, MOBOs, overclocking, PC gaming hardware, get your questions ready. We'll be doing some shoots with the eggheads over at extremetech.com. So if you want the answers right from the mouths of the experts, email us PC hardware questions to techzilla@revision3.com. I always run out of breath. I'm like really tired today.
You're just excited.
It's all the live show stuff. I'm like,
that's because you're like fervently typing in the chat room at every moment.
No, you are.
Oh, here.
I don't even have a computer in front of me.
Tell you what, you fervently type and I'll do the Netflix sponsored movie pick of the week. Actually, cut to 3. This will be fun.
We'll switch. Whoa!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Mnemonic, one of the finest William Gibson short stories turned into one of the weirdest sci-fi movies ever, starring Keanu Reeves and Ice-T. Don't laugh, Johnny Mnemonic rode the crest of the mid-90s cyberpunk craze, based on a short story by William Gibson that I love and I think was savaged and mutilated in the course of making this movie. This futuristic story, well, it's about a courier that needs to transport data, essentially using his head as a hard drive. He needs to get it out before it kills him. So put Johnny Mnemonic, I hate saying that name. I love the story. I hate saying that name. Johnny Mnemonic iconic on the top of your queue at Netflix. And don't forget to check out the other 90,000 titles they've got available, including an amazing selection of Blu-ray HD movies. You are bound to find any title you're looking for, plus with 40 shipping centers around the U.S., almost all deliveries happen in just a single business day. Shipping both ways is free. Plans start at $4.99. But you're a Tekzilla viewer, so we can hook you up with a free trial. Just go to www.netflix.com/Tekzilla. And then join us in the chat. Actually, I should say not in the chat, in the forums. Then join us in the forums, and you can tell us all about, well, the glory that is Keanu Reeves' acting.
Looks like it's time for another websites we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. Today's pick, FreshAirApps.com. This site is a repository of applications that run on Adobe Air, a cross-platform runtime environment that enables programmers to make, for example, desktop applications like Twirl, a Twitter client that we've mentioned before, the official Pounce client, and Snacker, an RSS reader. The site's layout is really simple, and you can search for apps by category or with the search box. There's a review of each application which covers their functionality, style, and usefulness. Each application can also be voted on by users, so you can easily see which ones float up to the top. This site is also a wonderful resource for Adobe Air developers. It has a tutorial section that covers all the basics for fledgling devs, as well as links to the tools you'll need to build the apps in the resources area. If working with or even just using Adobe Air is something you've been thinking about, check out FreshAirApps.com.
We've got ourselves a question from Anthony, who writes in, what's the difference between regular phone, digital phone, and VoIP? Oh boy.
What is the difference?
Okay, POTS, plain old telephone service, or plain old telephony service, plain old telephone service, POTS, analog, the traditional. There used to be big, huge switches, basically, that would manually pretend they were the little old ladies you always saw in the videos from the 30s, what they called the movies back then, right? Where they'd be calling up and they'd switch it. Switches basically would switch it direct. It's amazing, right? Because they basically have a direct single line between this telephone and that telephone through a series of local and trunk cables. It's amazing. I'm doing a horrible job explaining it, but basically uncompressed audio, you know, at basically an 8K resolution is your traditional analog phone service. VoIP is any kind of voice over IP. They basically, it's digitized audio converted into packets that are sent over the internet. POTS can actually use VoIP and has been using it for long distance forever. And in fact, a lot of you are actually using POTS services locally where it's still analog between your phone and the switch, and then probably digital everywhere else. Digital is almost always VoIP, i.e. digitized phone conversations, and they usually use digital when it's like, have digital clarity associated with your phone. Usually in that case is basically it's like an MP3. It's basically a digital representation of the audio. The analog audio comes out of your mouth into a microphone, gets captured, digitized, and usually sent out over the internets. And usually I see it in advertisements for either Vonage or basically cable or DSL cell phone plans.
Comcast has that digital cable plan that they're always talking about. I mean, digital voice.
Yeah, basically it's VoIP. It's VoIP, you know. It's just they like to say digital because digital sounds 21st century. And cellular, of course, is the wireless connections that we'll explain. We'll get an engineer in here to explain cellular, because as soon as I start figuring out how cellular works, I start to cry softly in a corner. It's cool. It's complicated.
I think we do that once every episode.
Cry in a corner?
At least.
Is it my turn or your turn this week?
I did it last time when I went like that. So it's your turn. Anyhow, I think it's time we take another video email. Take it away, Alan.
Hi Patrick and my lovely Veronica. I have a father that's 73 and needs help from time to time on the internet. Is there a program or a process out there that makes it easy to send a screenshot to an email address that he can use? Thanks a lot. Love the show.
You're lovely, Veronica. Well, all right.
It's not my lovely Veronica.
That's fine.
Seems that Alan, it's my evil, angry Veronica. Alan, though, seems he wants something a little easier than using print screen or Command Shift 3 to grab his screenshots.
Yeah, and I think we've got a good solution for him, Skitch. This is one of my favorite new apps out there, and it makes editing and sharing screen grabs a total snap. Get it? Like snap?
We've spoken about punning.
Yeah, I know. Skitch comes from the team at Plask, who you may know from the Comic Life app. This is how it works. You download the Skitch app, and then you can use it to take screen grabs of your desktop or even record something from your webcam. Once you've selected the area you want to take a grab of, capture it, and then edit it within the program. If you need to make something for your dad, Alan, just highlight the area within a box or even add some text to get really specific. Otherwise, it's a pretty bare-bones image editor, but that's not really the purpose of the app anyway, so don't worry about it. Once you've done editing the image, upload it to your Skitch web account right from the program, and then you can share the link, embed it within a blog, or even mark it as private, you know, in case you've got private things, matters to attend to.
It's a secret screen capture on the internet.
Right. You can then email him the link or save it as a file to send as an attachment. Yeah, it's a few more steps in the traditional print screen, and then upload as an attachment and send to your dad. But
it's an option.
You get so much more functionality out of it that way.
I like that thought.
I like that thought.
So before we go on, we're going to take a moment to thank another sponsor. People that make this episode possible. Well, basically, if they don't take care of us, we can't take care of you. So without them, you can't have your weekly Texilla fix. And who is it, Veronica?
It's GoDaddy. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. Tell your story to the world with .me, the top-level domain that's all about you. LandRush is only open until July 17th. Should the same domain be requested multiple times, an auction will be held to claim the name. So act now and create a unique, personalized space on the internet with .me. And be sure to tune in June 29th to July 5th to see the GoDaddy girl Amanda Beard as she makes her bid for Beijing in the U.S. swim team time trials. Plus, enter code TECH2 when you check out and save an additional $5 off any order of $30. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Support us by supporting them.
Starting July 19th, Texilla will begin releasing all new episodes on Saturday instead of Friday. The same great content and witty banter you've come to expect from Texilla will remain, only the release date is changing. So mark the date on your calendar. As of July 19th, Texilla will be releasing new episodes on Saturday.
Veronica, you ready to tackle some more tough tech questions?
As always, my friend, as always. That's why I'm here, to tackle those tough tech questions.
Who says tough tech questions?
Tough tech questions.
Say that 3 times fast.
Right, and here we go. My friend is getting a new desktop for college, and he wants to know the best way to transfer his massive music collection from his XP computer to his new Vista rig. He thought of taking the hard drive from his old computer and putting it in an external enclosure, or making it a slave drive. I don't think that will work because it has a copy of Windows on it. What's the best way to move to a new computer, Mac or PC, without buying an external hard drive? Thanks, Patrick from Michigan.
Patrick, actually, your buddy's got a good idea. Roger, will Roger actually appear outside of the control room, or is he still the man behind the curtain we're not allowed to see? Okay,
he's the Wizard of Oz.
He is the Wizard of Oz, but he assures me that he has actually taken an actual hard drive with a large pile of media, including MP3s, that did have an installed Windows operating system, plugged it into the new PC, and drug everything over on the hard drive. And that's about as fast and as easy as transferring all that stuff is going to get. One of the nice things about moving to Vista is, if anybody out there remembers an application called Aloha Bob, which is a PC relocator, Microsoft bought Aloha Bob and integrated Aloha Bob's fabulous ability to transfer everything, because everybody's like, okay, I remember my MP3 collection, but do you do your bookmarks?
Bob didn't work out well for Microsoft last time around, so why do they think a Bob thing will work again?
Well, first of all, yeah, okay, the original Bob was a hideous travesty. Aloha Bob, however, which was not a Microsoft product and is not named Bob for the very reason that Microsoft probably doesn't want to relive that horror, is actually called the fabulous Windows Easy Transfer inside of Vista. Oh. And it basically allows you, and LapLink would be a similar product, where they basically allow you to network the two machines either with a proprietary cable or over the internets, over your home network, and it'll basically suck all of the information off your XP or 98 box and onto your Vista box. So basically, though, you know, the trick is remembering to list everything you want to get off the old machine. You know, your documents, your data, your bookmarks, your passwords, anything you can't live without. Make sure it's on the new machine before you do anything with that old machine, and make sure he formats that old machine if he's going to give it away or sell it on Craigslist.
Over and over and over.
Yes.
Over and over. Format, 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 or pay someone to do it.
Yes, I probably wouldn't trust anyone to format my own stuff. It's
you never know.
Yeah, well, if you don't, do you know how to format a Mac? Like wipe a Mac?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just checking. Our next email comes from Marshall.
Just making sure.
Who wants to know, well, he's just wondering what we think is the best solution for an internal or external Blu-ray drive for the Mac. I was looking at this solution from MCE Tech, but the $699 price point is a little steep. Yeah, it is. I'm wondering which external drives are available, or even a cheap internal drive in an external case. Okay, Marshall, it's a great question.
So what's the best solution for Mr. Marshall?
Well, first of all, you probably want to use Roxio, Toast 9, Titanium. That's going to be sort of the end-all and be be-all of burning on OS 10, basically burning your disk on OS 10, and it will support it's a BD-R and BD-RE would be the rewritable and the write-only.
BDR and BDRW, right? Or is it different on Blu-ray?
It may be different on Bluray.
I'll
double check. Well, let's go for BD-R for right now, because I still don't understand half the DVD burning formats, and I don't really care to, because I just throw a disc in the drive and it works, which may be a brazen assumption with Blu-ray, but that's a whole nother conversation. The thing, though, is basically what they're charging you for is the fact that MCE Tech probably bought those drives 6 months or a year ago when they were super expensive, and as a matter of fact, it's still really easy to spend $500 plus for a Blu-ray burning drive. There are really, really cheap drives that'll read Blu-ray and burn DVD discs, but those are selling for like 130 to 150 bucks from Lite-On and Sony, but they will not burn Blu-ray discs. So when you start looking around Newegg, you're looking like $350, $360 for Lite-On. They're a good, reputable brand for a Blu-ray burner. And let me check.
Did you do a system?
BD-RE.
Did you do a system one on something like this?
We did not. We actually, next week's system, we talk about basically building a Blu-ray movie playing home theater PC.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually coming up on Monday. Because it's amazing,
good.
like the
So
drives are super cheap. The software, though, you actually can't play Blu-ray movies in OS 10. As far as I've not been able to find any Blu-ray movie playback software for OS 10. Burning the Blu-ray discs, which are great because they're huge, like 25 or 50 gigabytes. 25 gigabyte discs are usually pretty common. Allows you to stash a whole lot of data in a relatively easy way. 2X and 4X writers, burners are basically what you're going to find, and those tend to take a little while to burn those discs. But basically, any serial ATA drive, and they're almost all serial. I don't think there are any like IDE, like the big old ribbon cable drives. Any serial ATA drive should work in your Mac with no problems. Your Mac doesn't know if it's a Blu-ray drive or a DVD player or a hard drive. It just knows that a serial ATA device is attached. So buy the least expensive one you can find. Buy a copy of Toast. If anybody has an open source...
Toast rules. I like Toast a lot.
You like Toast?
I like Toast.
Then don't even bother to tell us about any other options.
Little marmalade, little...
Marmalade?
Marmalade.
No, this is Roxio Toast.
I know.
Burning software. I was going to mock you.
But I was joking. So if you mock me, it doesn't work.
You sure?
I think that cancels it out.
The mock cancels out the joke?
I think we have time for one more question anyway, so let's just... Moving on! Our final question comes from Chris. He wants to know, I see Patrick's MacBook is very personalized with a vinyl skin.
A stylish vinyl skin.
Very stylish robot, yes. Please show us MacBook users a couple of MacBook personalizing options. As much as I love the design of my book, it is kind of generic, so please help us out.
Chris V.
Mine rules more than yours does.
Oh, it does?
But it's
it's
laser etched.
Okay, laser etching is definitely an option, and there's actually an entire episode of System that's dedicated to etching, basically with VersaLaser systems. You can actually sometimes find shops that'll etch for you. This one here, the fabulous Exploding Dog, explodingdog.com is a great online cartoon. These are from jealousskins.com. They have like a Mac-centric reputation, but they've got Razer cell phone, PC notebook skins, PSP and Nintendo DS skins.
I have a Jealous skin for my iPhone.
They're pretty cool. Yeah. They're basically flat vinyl removable stickers. They're hard to pull off, but it's doable. Skinit is really cool. Skinit.com. Similar material, but you can also create your own, and they have tons more devices. Cell phones, console boxes, Guitar Hero guitars. So you can basically like put your own picture that you draw on a Guitar Hero guitar. Tons of MP3 players. If you want something more permanent, Veronica's notebook, etched with a design she loves. We got a whole episode of that on System using the...
It doesn't do much to protect it, though.
Nothing at all,
It's not protecting it in the slightest.
But it's very stylish.
Here, I'll show the camera again.
Chris asked for style.
Mine's
he didn't ask for protection.
Quasi and Dan is the artist that did my laptop. But yeah, gel skins are awesome. My iPhone is like perfectly, protected on the back at least, and also it comes with a matching wallpaper that you can put on the phone, so back and forth on both sides, it looks the same.
That's really cool.
Isn't that kind of cool? Little theme,
really cool.
Little theme for your phone.
Have you seen Colorware.com?
Yeah.
So they're actually
Colorware is cool.
Yeah, painted consoles, MP3 players, HD TVs if you want them in shiny colors. Smooth Creations is another really great online resource, and they do custom airbrushed PCs and notebooks.
Wait, so it's not like airbrushing, like you go to the boardwalk and you get a palm tree on a T-shirt.
Well, it's like airbrushing, like you see on. When somebody spends like $20,000 painting their car for a car show. That kind of airbrushing.
Not the boardwalk
Flames
kind
and
of
skulls and American flags and pretty much anything else. And you can always check out System Episode 43 to see basically how David Randolph and I covered a notebook with fur, and he also had painting your notebook tips.
That's disgusting.
No, it was like mink. It was faux. It was genuine faux mink. What's wrong with faux mink?
Faux
mink
it's so
on a notebook?
Gross. It's like an animal that you just carry around all day, and food will get stuck in it, and it's like a.
You get food on your notebook?
No, but I mean, if I did, I would just wipe it off. There's a little bit of
the crumbs come out of your notebook
here on the top. I don't know what that is.
What have you been doing?
It's fine. There's nothing. Leave it. Stop. It's just okay. Okay, that's good. Give it back. Thank you.
Food on your notebook.
Just leave it alone.
What?
Don't hurt it.
Don't hurt it. It did never hurt your notebook. Who got the notebook etched for you? You branded your notebook. Did you get its permission? No, you just branded it whether it wanted to or not. It's like piercing a baby's ear.
For all of you watching, leave me alone. For all of you watching, we live on your emails and your questions. So email us, techzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos, you ask us, we'll do it. But we need those emails, so don't be shy. Send them in to techzilla@revision3.com. Even better, send us in a video question so we can see your pearly whites on screen. And as always, we have the forums, revision3.com/forum. The Techzilla forum is where it's at. Yeah. You can find more details on the site.
And if you're sending a video question, put it up on YouTube and basically email us video question in the subject line so we know to pick those out.
And keep it under 15 seconds. 15 seconds or under. We've let a few slide, but you know.
Aim for 15 seconds.
Good quality. And for those of you who caught the live stream, we hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to catch all of our antics live and unedited. You can watch more details at revision3.com/watch. I'm all like aggro now. I'm like, watch the live feed.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, you've been watching Techzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.